go to Oklahoma City on Sunday, and if lightning doesn't strike when they go inside that church, I think it's right that they be there to memorialize what happened in Oklahoma City, because that is horrific. And that's where a president belongs. So, kind of following the guidance of Teddy Roosevelt, it's right to support the president when the president is doing what's right in support of the Constitution. So I think he's doing what's right in this case, so let's call him the president for a change. But be in the Oval Room. They're discussing the problems of integrating America into a global community. And they're saying these dadgum patriots aren't going to go. And somebody happens to say, from the advisory council, happens to say, gosh, I wonder if it would help if there was an act of terrorism. I wonder, you know, we've got to be careful. They tried to blow up the World Trade Center. These guys were never going to get rid of them. What would happen? Would it help if there was an act of terrorism? Maybe the American people would see we've got to disarm everyone in order to have a safe world. And I'm sure that Bill probably said, or Hillary, well, it probably would, but that would never happen. We pray and hope. We never want that to happen, of course. We hope that there's never another act of terrorism on the shores of America. But you're right, it probably would give us the vehicle that we need. That's all. Friends, Scott Weekly, you can talk to him about this. Scotty was amazed one day. I took him to Washington, D.C. with me. We landed at National Airport, and we rented a little Japanese car. I drove over to the White House. I stopped in front of the White House. Tom Harvey came running out, jumped into the right front seat. I told Scotty, get in the back. Harvey said, Bo, drive down 16th Street here to where the Red Cross building is. He said, stop right here. He said, here's the envelope. Here's everything that you'll need. And I said, okay. I said, you want me to take you back? He said, no, I'll get out here and walk back. Scott jumped up in the front seat and said, gee, many Christmas. Is this the way that business is done? And I said, this is it, Scotty. I said, open the envelope and take out the papers and the orders and the instructions and things we need, and let's be about our business. That's the way things are done, friends. I just want you to kind of come down into the real world from whatever bubble you think encases Washington District of Criminals. I believe here's how it happens. You don't have any kind of an officer from Langley, Virginia, CIA headquarters, go down and start recruiting or training someone to do this. But friends, you have 3 or 4 levels of cutouts that do this for you. Somewhere along the line, somebody is working for a Max Gomez, a Felix Rodriguez. Somebody is introduced into this little movement. Now, they say these guys were from Fort Riley. They were in the Army at one time. I've even heard they were AWOL. I don't know if that's true or not. But isn't it a little interesting? They have a military background, don't they? It is said that they were part of the Michigan Militia. Every one of you have heard that today before you came over, I'm sure. So now there is a direct contact. And what did they say on CNN? And the Michigan Militia is part of the Montana Militia, and the Montana Militia is part of the Aryan nations, and that spells hate, and we got to get rid of them all. Because just like Clinton said, these people are evil. These people are killers. These people need to be dealt with. He could have said the same thing 2 years ago on the 19th of April, couldn't he, about Waco and about Weaver and about other times that have occurred. So here's what I want you to watch for. I want you to watch for the expertise. These guys did not have. Now, I heard this on CNN, that Norm Olson, commander of the Michigan Militia, I've had Norm on the radio program a couple of times. I know him. He's a Baptist preacher. I think he's got both feet square on the ground. I think he's bubble-centered. But they said Norm Olson had put on their computer net. I don't like computers, and I guess I could like them, but they don't like me, so I don't know too much about them. But Norm apparently had put on his computer net how to make an ammonium nitrate bomb. Boy, let's just really put the fine screws in here. And what happened? I explained it to you on my radio program about 2 months ago. What happened up there in Michigan? They actually had a conspiracy within some members, whether they were active or not, I don't know, but the sergeant major of the Michigan Militia. I've got an affidavit signed by him that says there was actually a conspiracy to destroy some Soviet vehicles that were inside a National Guard armory up there in Michigan and shoot any guardsmen that tried to prevent it. Friends, that is un-American. That is insane. That is stupid. That is dumb. Don't ever shoot an American to destroy a piece of Soviet junk. And let me stop right there and explain. Why would our National Guard in Michigan have Soviet vehicles? Why are Soviet vehicles in Florida? Why are Soviet vehicles in Arizona? There is an operation that is going on. The operation is commanded out of MacDill Air Force Base. The operation is to test Soviet equipment in the most humid of conditions, in the most dry of conditions, and in the coldest and wettest of conditions, to see how our targeting pairs up with the profile of a Soviet vehicle over an American vehicle, so that we don't make the mistake of shooting Americans. When we're shooting in bad weather, using sophisticated weapons, we are able to fine-tune and we're able to work with these vehicles. But you name me one vehicle that's punched out in the former USSR that's better than what we have here. That's junk, friends. And so don't ever go in. Now, I got an affidavit that said that this was actually but do you think that maybe this conspiracy could have been put together at the instigation of some federal agent up or down the link? If you say no, I want you to go back to the 60s and 70s. Did the Army admit that they had infiltrated every group, including the Baptist Church? They had more people in the Ku Klux Klan and in the Hells Angels motorcycle clubs and in the SDS, remember that, the Student Democratic Society or whatever it was, Tom Hayden's outfit. If you were an infantry officer, which I was, you were detailed counterintelligence corps to infiltrate these groups. Now let's say you're a young infantry officer and they have put you into the unorganized militia of Texas or the constitutional militia of Texas. Okay, I'm there and I'm supposed to take notes and watch what you guys do. Now about every week my boss says, what are you doing to earn your paycheck? And I'm saying, hey, they're not doing nothing dirty. And pretty soon he says, we're going to put you back in the line if you don't start producing. And I say, well, what are you interested in, boss? Well, if we can just get them to conspire in writing to destroy something, then this would make all the difference in the world. And I could get a good conduct medal, and you might even get a little something too. So now I go back and I start telling the leadership of the Constitutional Texas Militia, hey guys, maybe we ought to do more than just sit in the back seat here. Maybe we ought to do more than talk about it. Let's do something. Let's get going. Matter of fact, I've got some old stuff that I had from my dad from World War II. Tells you how to do stuff. Let's do something. Can we do it? And let's get really organized. Let's write it all down so we don't have anything just a memory. You see how do you think that kind of stuff happened? Friends, it happens all the time. Enthusiasts. What I'm telling you, you watch. This was much too sophisticated in Oklahoma City to have been by a patriot movement by a couple of young jabronis who went through basic training at Fort Riley, Kansas. This stuff is at the highest level of Langley and certainly had special forces know-how because that was a work of art in how it's performed. But is it having the telling effect? What are you hearing on the news today? You're hearing on the news today, we need to accelerate, we need to broaden, we need to deepen what? The Counter-Terrorist Act, which allows the president and Janet Reno to designate any group as being a terrorist organization. And you have no defense. If they say you're a terrorist organization, that's that. Is that what you want? All right, now then, just to kind of shift up to second gear here, just recently, Clinton has done two things. In Haiti, he told the Congress he didn't need their permission to send troops into Haiti. Well, is that what the Constitution says? Not what the Constitution says, but he made a big deal out of it, and then he made sure he had UN permission, didn't he? And then even more recently, when the Peso bottomless pit opened up, Clinton said, quote, I can't wait for Congress. didn't he? And he